afternoon. My name is Jeannie Ong, and I am the Director of Community Health with Advocate Aurora Health. And I'm here today representing Advocate Condell Medical Center. Home health aide, physical therapy aide, emergency medical technician, dental assistant, LPN. These healthcare jobs are projected to grow and require a relatively low level of education for entry level. They represent essential workers who serve their communities by providing medical care, at times life-saving care, but many struggle to find and maintain affordable housing near their places of work. Of these 5 selected occupations that I just mentioned, not a single one is guaranteed the ability to afford to rent or purchase a home in any one of the 203 metro areas examined in a recent report by the National Housing Conference, which included the city of Chicago. That report is titled Paycheck to Paycheck. Communities that lack affordable housing for key health workers will struggle to attract and retain the workforce that they need to support the health of their residents. A shortage of housing for key health workers can make it more difficult to support aging in place for our growing older population, respond effectively to health emergencies, and support the overall health of all individuals. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Nancy Noziga. I'm an advanced practice nurse working with patients diagnosed with heart failure, a progressive chronic condition that must be managed with frequent access to healthcare resources, medication, diet, and daily self-monitoring. Last year, I cared for a patient that we will call Tom, a 53-year-old man who was diagnosed with advanced heart failure. Due to the severity of his symptoms, he was no longer able to work and had to rely on disability benefits as his only source of income. He had no family support system to assist him. The only housing Tom could afford was a single-room, second-story walk-up apartment above a garage in Libertyville. The apartment had no kitchen facilities, leaving Tom with no way to prepare meals or store perishable foods. Tom's housing impacted his health in many different ways. He suffered from social isolation. He had difficulty climbing stairs and had to limit his trips out of his home to 1 trip daily. He experienced frequent hospitalizations, which were triggered by his poor diet. Since he had no refrigerator, he had to purchase all the food he needed for the day every morning and finish eating it by the end of the day. He couldn't participate in social service programs such as food pantry assistance because he could not store or prepare or heat up any meals. He did not have transportation to local soup kitchens to participate in meal programs. Tom ate fast food meals every day for every meal for years, as this was the most food he could purchase at the most affordable cost. Tom experienced constant stress and anxiety due to fear of losing his home. One hospitalization, Tom signed out against medical advice because his rent was due that day. He needed to get to the bank to get cash to pay his landlord. Tom knew that with the lack of affordable housing in Libertyville, his landlord could easily rent his apartment to another person if he was late with his rent. He could not stay in shelters or PADS housing due to the severity of his illness. Tom's health continued to decline. He was frequently hospitalized. Each time we were able to stabilize him, but we knew he would be back because he was unable to change his living situation. Unfortunately, Tom's condition is not unique. We work with patients like Tom, whose housing impacts their ability to care for themselves on a weekly basis. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Francisca Pacheco, and I graduated from Waukegan High School in 2015. After graduating with my finance degree in 2019, I decided to move back to Waukegan and live with my parents in order to help alleviate any financial distress on their end. We now live in apartment complexes that are right behind the Lake Behavioral Hospital. So I was so excited when I heard about the project proposal regarding the area. A brief background regarding my family's financial status. In 2010, my parents unfortunately had to file for bankruptcy because they weren't able to afford their mortgage payments, although they were working up to 2 to 3 jobs in order to make ends meet. Now, 11 years later, as a first-generation daughter, my main goal is to save up enough money to provide a home that they can call theirs without having to worry about the financial burden that comes with high mortgage payments or even high interest rates. I know that Lake County's United's proposal will not only bring life to this area of Waukegan, but will also help empower young Waukegan individuals like myself to invest in themselves and in the community. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Daphne Cody, and I'm an interim pastor serving one of the houses of worship in Libertyville while that church searches for its new permanent pastor who will be starting this coming summer. I'm worried about the new pastor that will be coming. They will be offered a similar compensation package to the one I currently have. My church in Libertyville offers me a generous pension and high-quality health insurance, along with a really solid salary. However, the church does not offer church-provided housing like a rectory or a parsonage. That's okay for me because I'm an interim and I have a spouse who also has a salary and we already have a place to live. But I know this is going to be difficult for the person who is coming in to take the permanent position. The person is likely to be a young professional who may or may not have an employed spouse. I know that they will not be able to find the breadth of housing options in Libertyville that would be comparable in quality to my parishioners or what will be their parishioners' housing. I can't emphasize enough how important it is for spiritual leaders, just like other caring and helping professionals, to live where we work, to be able to understand the culture of the town where our congregants live, and to have our families integrated into the community or town we serve. We need to be able to be present for our people in emergencies and to be nearby in case of a death or other trauma. We need to be able to afford where we live. Pastors, rabbis, and other spiritual leaders and their families are usually also excellent citizens and add value to their neighborhoods and towns. For my successor, affordable housing in Libertyville is essential to their success.
Hello, good afternoon. My name is Arthur Garantowski. I'm 47 years old. I'm a resident of Waukegan. I've been working since I was 16 years old, sometimes working a full-time job and a part-time job just to make ends meet. Now I have a good job at a shipping company, and my wife, who is an immigrant, works a full-time job, but we still can't afford to own our own home. We're helping our kids pay for college, and it gets difficult at times, but we always manage. It is sad that we have to choose between sending our kids to college or buying our first home. Now we have to rent from my father-in-law for a more affordable price. It's always been my dream to have a place to call my home, not just living in someone else's home. My wife and I still believe in the American dream, and we want to see it happen not only for us, but for my kids, my friends, and my community, who are mostly essential workers. I believe it's time for our elected officials to make a real commitment to us, hardworking people, by building quality, affordable homeownership. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I am Stephanie Schlappy, and I'm a supervisor of housing programs at Catholic Charities in Waukegan. I would like to share with you a client story of we'll call her Jennifer, who faced many of the same obstacles that we're talking about today. Jennifer is a single mother of 5 small children and a current participant in one of our housing programs. She was homeless for several months before she came to us. She was referred to us after she entered shelter through the PADS Lake County. Jennifer became homeless at the start of the pandemic after she experienced a domestic violence situation and had to flee. Upon entering our program, Jennifer discovered that she was pregnant. She was determined to save money before her maternity leave to ensure financial stability until she was able to return to work. Jennifer faced many barriers to obtaining housing, which included lack of income, lack of support, a low credit score, which included an eviction. She stayed in contact with her housing case manager during their housing search, and she followed up on all housing leads until she eventually was able to secure housing this past November. Since obtaining housing, Jennifer has maintained part-time employment while continuing to save money for utilities and for her bills. She has been working to repair her credit in order to obtain her housing voucher. Jennifer is very eager to move forward with her referrals, and she continues to stay motivated. She has flourished in our program where she receives weekly check-in calls. She takes pride in her unit, in keeping her unit clean and well cared for, such that she can provide a home for her children. Her eagerness to move forward in life, regardless of the many obstacles that she faces, has been inspirational. The answer to long-term stability for Jennifer is to obtain a long-term housing subsidy. She and her case manager have been working diligently to pursue her Section 8 voucher. It has been a long process, but our goal is when she exits our program, she'll be able to maintain her housing. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Susan Maller. I'm a single mother in Lake County, raising 2 young men who are 20 and 24, and on the autism spectrum. I have tried numerous agencies to get my oldest son affordable housing. I was given a list of housing options. Out of the 70 places on the list, 34 would take someone under 55. Out of the 34, some were at market rate, which meant that my son couldn't afford them, and the rest had waiting lists or were closed. One in Zion out of the 70 was income-based and said call for availability. So I am waiting 2 weeks now for a return call from them. In order for me to even stay in my house in Mundelein, I have to work 3 jobs, and I have renters live with me. My experience is why I believe that Lake County United's essential housing efforts in Waukegan and Libertyville are important. We need affordable, beautiful, secure, and dignified homes that serve people like my son. I invite everybody in the audience to get involved in this effort to make Lake County housing more equitable. Thank you.